UK Black.
BBC.
Right, a sharp rise in demand is expected for an already oversubscribed English for Speakers of Other Languages courses, also known as Esol, and after years of funding cuts. So over the last 6 years, The Reader, the UK's largest shared reading charity, has adapted its initiative, shared reading model, to offer an increasing number of free Esol focus groups to help support connection and well-being with highly successful results. Katie Clark, the charity's Director of Literature, works in collaboration with Our Liverpool, a Liverpool City Council funded project, running stopgap education classes for children from sanctuary-seeking families awaiting a school place. She is a group leader of a weekly Esol shared reading group for the parents and guardians, and I'm pleased to say that Katie is in the studio with me now. Hello, Katie.
Hello, good to be here with you, Nikki. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no, I'm made up to have you with you here. Have you with me here. I'll put my teeth in a minute. I think I might need this course. So tell us a little bit about The Reader.
Well, The Reader, as you said, is a charity that uses the power of literature and reading aloud to transform lives across the UK. And our volunteers and staff bring people together in small groups to read great books, whether that be stories or poems, creating powerful moments of connection, and we call this shared reading. So at the moment, we've got 515 of those shared reading groups happening across Liverpool and the UK.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and the groups happen in all sorts of places as well. So places where you might not expect to find them. So they definitely happen in lots of libraries, but also in care homes, hospitals. We've got groups that run in pubs. We've got
I don't know how much reading's going to get done in the pub.
Well, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised with our reader leaders. They're very passionate about what they do. We have groups that run in prisons and also groups that run at the International Centre for Shared Reading, which is just down the road in Calderstones Park.
Wow, that is amazing. It really is. And obviously, you're here to talk about Esol, and you are so passionate about this. I can tell. How important is it at the moment for Esol?
I think it's incredibly important. I think, you know, in a world that can feel increasingly divided and fragile, I think one of the brilliant things that shared reading does is it opens up a space when we're reading for people to share their very different and diverse experiences through what we're reading and talking about. But also, I think the brilliant connective power of great writing to shine a light really on shared human experience as well, and kind of connect us in that way. And that's one of the brilliant things I see happening time and time again in the groups, and why I am really passionate about them.
I love that. Have you heard of, I remember hearing about this a few years ago, the Human Library?
Oh yeah, I have.
Where you can almost hire a person, but like just sit and listen to their life story.
It sounds amazing.
Doesn't that sound fascinating? I mean, I don't know if anybody wants to hire me. I haven't got anything to say. Or, well, I can't speak because I need to put my teeth in. But that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that idea that actually I see lots of people who kind of are interested and come into these groups will be learning English either on their phones, maybe using YouTube videos and accessing different ways. As you've said, there have been lots of cuts with Esol classes. But I think, you know, you can learn all of the words, all of the English words, but actually to be able to have that human connection and come together with other people and hearing kind of all the passion, emotion as those words are read aloud really makes such a huge difference. And, you know, I think about kind of people in the group. I remember there was one lady who'd been coming along for a number of weeks. And I wasn't really sure she was enjoying it. She was always very quiet and she kept coming back.
Okay.
And then she'd been about 3 weeks and she typed a message on her phone. She was using like a translation on her phone and she handed it to me. And the message on the phone said, "For 3 months, I've been unable to speak. Whenever I try, I feel ashamed because my English isn't good." And I just felt so sad reading that message.
Literally making me cry.
Well, I welled up. She had tears in her eyes as she handed me this message. And I typed a message back to her saying, you know, I'm so sorry to hear that. And I'm so glad that you're here. I think you're incredibly brave actually coming to this group. And we're really glad that you're here. And a bit later in the session, I heard her voice for the first time. We'd read a poem and she said, "I think this is about the wonder of life." And it was so amazing in that moment. The thing that was incredibly powerful was all the other group members kind of moved towards her and were really encouraging her and sort of saying, you know, that's great, well done. But I think for me, it was a real start moment for making me realise actually what it had taken for her to get her voice out into the room, something that we might take for granted.
Yeah, but that was confidence building. So even though she was like in the background, like, well, to say, but in the background for 3 months, but then she got the confidence to speak. And people don't realise that that's a big thing, especially if English is not your first language.
Absolutely.
That takes a big thing. I've literally got tears in my eyes.
Well, I think one of the things that's really lovely about shared reading is, you know, that runs across our model in everything that we do, all of our shared reading groups. One of the things that is brilliant for the model for this is that we always go quite slowly when we're reading. We take our time to pause and talk about what we're reading as we go. So we don't race through novels or stories. And we often will go back and repeat the reading, maybe pick out a particular line or word that stood out for us and use that as a hook and a way to get in. And I think that works particularly well. You don't need to know all of the words. Actually, it can just be maybe one word that really stands out and you take something away from that. We'll often say, you know, this word is quite an unusual word in English. Maybe you don't hear this word very much. I wonder, is there an equivalent word or feeling? Sometimes it's like almost like a feeling that comes across in your first language. That's right. So that's been really beautiful. And one of my favourite things about the groups as well is hearing group members then read the poems aloud in their first languages.
That must be so beautiful.
It's amazing, and you can hear the feeling and the emotion of the words coming out, and it's really, really powerful.
Gosh, I felt like I was in an English lesson there as well. when you're learning poetry and you're going line by line and you're picking, but that's the best way to learn, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
And I like how it's not on. I mean, do you have an online version of it?
We do have online groups as well that are available, and you know, on our website we have a find a group page that gives details of where all the groups are happening, whether they be in person or online options as well, so people can check that out. I love in person. I think there's benefits to both. One of the things that's interesting is about the online is we have some groups that take place online where we have international people calling in as well, so you know, from all over the world, which is obviously incredible, but there's also something very special about being together in person.
Definitely, because you build that like little sense of community as well, then you can try out, you know, you can practice with each other. And it's like we were talking before about, like, you know, like facial expressions and intonations. You might not always get that if you're doing it online, but then, you know, like you were saying, online you've got international. So we're all learning multiple languages, so we're all going to become polyglots at some point.
I love that.
I'm hoping.
We're just so keen to kind of get it out to as many people as possible as well, and for everyone to have access to these groups. So the online gives a good way of getting it out to that really wide audience. But yeah.
And obviously it's going to help with your mental health as well, like we've just talked about the lady before, like the confidence that she now had after 3 months. So it's not just about actually learning the language, it's helping with the well-being and their confidence and all of that.
We've had a lot of feedback actually around confidence, and that being a huge part of this, from group members and also from other people working with them, saying, you know, we've really noticed the difference that the group has been having. And we've got several group members who have grown so much in their confidence that they've actually gone on to do training to then co-lead one of the shared reading groups as well, and become volunteers with us, which is incredible.
That is amazing. So, gosh, I think we're going to have to call it now, but I think you've got a little poem for us.
I've always got a poem in my back pocket. So here we go. This is just from actually a Birkenhead poet called A.S.J. Tessamond, and it's a poem called Not Love Perhaps. This is not love perhaps, love that lays down its life, that many waters cannot quench nor the floods drown, but something written in lighter ink, said in a lower tone, something perhaps especially our own, a need at times to be together and talk, and then the finding we can walk more firmly through dark, narrow places, and meet more easily nightmare faces, a need to reach out sometimes, hand to hand, and then find Earth less like an alien land.
I love that.
I think for me that just really sums up the
Yeah,
feel of these
definitely.
groups, that need that we have sometimes to reach out hand to hand and form that connection.
Oh, you've got me so emotional. I've been speaking about dementia. I've been speaking about a fantastic new course at John Moore's, and you've got me here sobbing.
I'm sorry, I'll get find a tissue for you.
No, it's all good. So if anybody wants to join or wants to learn more, where do they go?
So you can find out more on our website. If you Google The Reader, you'll be able to find our website. And as I say, there's a Find a Group page on there, or you can follow us on socials at The Reader.org.
Fantastic. Katie, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.